day 28 of my now extended 20-day water fast. All right, so yesterday's my day 27, I reported about the jitters, how I experiment with the coffee, French press nonetheless. That's probably even retrospect is probably more of a double whammy, I guess. So I'm not sure if it was the coffee or whatnot that I had, but I did notice. Okay, well, I definitely got myself to go to sleep early, so I got myself to wind down at like starting at 11 p.m. This is unusual for me, but I just like, okay, tonight I'm gonna go to bed earlier. I'm just gonna wind down, and that's what I did. And wasn't looking at my screen, nothing, and just sat listening to some music for half an hour and just like chilled out, wind down, and then and so I was in bed 11:30, and I'm pretty sure I was passed out by midnight. I was passed out. So part of it was because I wanted to get up super early because I was like, man, I gotta get so much stuff done today. So so I got up at 5:30 in the morning. Which is, I had done that before, and I knew it like really impacted me, but I got a lot of stuff done. The one thing is, like, when I weighed myself, I was the exact same weight as the day before, 176.1. Now that could be there's multiple factors that changed. One, I had coffee the day before, first time having some coffee, which that could have definitely skewed things. Second thing was, I got up at 5:30 in the morning, and so I weighed myself shortly thereafter, and so that was definitely a lot earlier time than I normally weigh myself in the morning. Normally I'm not weighing myself until like between 7 and 8 a.m., kind of in that range. So significantly earlier than that range. So so that definitely probably I'm pretty sure that probably played a role in why the weight looks the same. So I think both of those combined probably played a role in causing me to plateau for a day. But then again, it's happened before, and I've also had days where I went up a pound. I had one day I went up a full pound. So just plateauing for one day is it happens. So I mean, if it was like 3 or 4 days in a row go by and you're staying at the same weight, then something's probably off. It might be something you're drinking, maybe something the water is not properly filtered and your body's not fully processing it, or it's resisting something, or you're not getting enough sleep, or something, some factor, but just a single plateau day or a single step back day, it's totally normal. Not to be concerned about. Let's see. Yeah, I think I had about 3 liters of water today. Yeah, about 3 liters. Again, went about 6 times. pH was my pH this morning was again 6, so it's been staying rock steady at 6 pH. The water pH was 9.38. The TDS was very low today. It was only at 89. EC 178. And yeah, so I started the day a little groggy, but I took a shower. That helped kind of finish waking me up. And then I was very productive all morning. Got all my laundry done, got some invoicing stuff done. Got some, a little bit of video editing work done, uploading one of the last videos, and what else? Yeah, I just, had to go pick up a rental car, get around rental car, had to, made my bed, did all, finished in the lotion. That was the other thing. After the shower, I made sure to fully, again, I'm using those Kiehl's lotion, which is this like really, nice premium body lotion. And so I, again, just liberally applied it, head to toe, and then just kind of, waited a little while before getting dressed. And so kind of try to work on other stuff in my room while waiting for the lotion to more fully absorb in my skin before, putting clothes on. So yeah, and then got out, started working, yeah, just made a whole bunch of stops today. Went to my mom's, dropped off some things. I'm gradually trying to implement some plant paradox diet foods to her, and like giving her little tips of like, okay, remember, Mom, if you're gonna use tomatoes, peel the tomatoes and de-seed them. Same thing goes with cucumbers and any squash and any eggplant. You have to peel and de-seed, because that's where all the inflammatory elements exist. So she's like, oh, okay, and then, and gave her some coconut milk that she really, really enjoys. So, start having her drink the coconut milk instead of the regular milk, which is the casein A1 milk, and so, so little by little, I'm just like adjusting what she's eating, and then brought her some things that, are like taro roots and taro root chips, made with palm oil, that one's like on the safe list, as long as it's not soybean oil, soybeans or corn and wheat and crap like that. So yeah, so that was good. But rest of the day, definitely, I felt like a slump again. And I think this happened before when I got up at 5:30, where, I was good for the first few hours, and then I just kind of went, I think it's just, body is just, my circadian rhythm is just like, wait a second, what's going on here? Like, we're not used to waking up this early. We're off now. We didn't get the full, we need a nap. And then so I decided to try another French press. But this time I'm like, okay, I'm going to go for a decaf. But I figured, I'm like, okay, decaf is like, there's probably trace amounts still left in decaf, but it's like 95% reduction in caffeine. So I'm like, maybe decaf will actually be just the right amount of little bit of a bump that I need to finish getting through the rest of my workday here, without just like having to totally stop and then take a nap, full-fledged nap in the middle of the day. Because I was a bit on a time crunch. So that's what I did. So I went back to Starbucks, or not back to Pete's, and got the French press, which is cool. They actually served it they served it to me in the glass French press in a cup. So I just poured it myself. And, again, it was definitely, yeah, it tasted good. It definitely still had a bit of an impact, but it was definitely noticeably a fraction of what the impact was yesterday. So it did give me a bit of a boost, kind of wake me up, and gave me just like a little bit of buzziness, but again, like night and day difference compared to yesterday, where it was the regular caffeinated one. So I was like, okay, but it was because I can only drink it black, and I can't, I can't put any coconut milk or anything to kind of like soften it and dilute it. It was still came across as a little harsh, so I'm like, okay, I think moving forward for the remainder of this fast, okay, I did some experiments. So, but I could totally be like, yeah, this is, I think once I'm off the fast and I'm just back into, we'll be doing an intermittent day fasting, which I'm going to experiment with different protocols, I think that will definitely, something about the French press one, I like it a lot more than the regular coffee or any of the other coffees. And I'm just going to douse it with, make it like a ratio of like one third French press to 2/3 coconut milk or something like that, or maybe 50-50. I don't know. So I'll experiment. But I think that would be I think that's definitely going to be something that I would like to enjoy. And now knowing that, even the decaf still has a little bit of an impact, and maybe just the right subtle amount, as opposed to the full caffeinated one, which is just, the caffeine load is just way too much. And I'm having a feeling that, even when I go back to doing some eating, because I'll be eating so clean, the high caffeine content is still just going to impact my system too greatly. But I think doing the decaf version and then toned down, diluted with the coconut milk, I think that'll be like, really enjoyable, something that I can sip on anytime I want, and and has just, an ever so slight little boost, a slight little cognitive boost, slight little boost there, but not introduce jitters, so that was something discovered. And so, so I think from, and I actually went to the store and I got some, like this green tea ginger tea. It's like green tea with ginger and matcha combination in the little, triangular pyramid tea bag shape, they have, with the string. And so I got a box of those, and so I tried a cup of that, and that was actually really pleasant. And that one didn't feel any jitters. It was just, it had more of a calming feel to it. So I really enjoyed that, and so I'm gonna continue drinking that one. So definitely the green tea is good and mild and easy on the system. And had a couple more seltzer waters. And what else? I think those are the main points for today. And again, I just because I started at 5:30. Definitely. The irony is, I got up extra early in order to get more stuff done, and I feel like I ended up getting less stuff done. I mean, I was super productive in the first like 3.5 hours of my morning, but then, well, I don't know. I mean, I got a lot of stuff done. I mean, I feel like I was super productive all the way up until like noon time, 1:00, and then my productivity just kind of just started slumping. So again, it was just like I got up so, that 5:30, I guess maybe it's just too early for right now, or I got to taper into it more, like do it like half-hour increments, adjusted by half an hour, not adjusted, hour and a half earlier, just too big of a change. And so, I mean, that's thrown off my system. But yeah, I mean, basically I would say by like 8 p.m., a little after 8 p.m., I was like, my whole body was just like, okay, I'm ready to do some, I want to sleep now. And I was just like, okay, I'm going to go home and I'm just going to lay down. And, laid down, set an alarm for an hour, and then the alarm went off, and I was like, I want to sleep some more. So, so that probably maybe threw me off. So I'm just finishing up this video. I'll be going to bed pretty soon. But I mean, so I basically took like an hour and a half nap about. The other thing I started listening to today, just to kind of shift gears away from, doing the plant paradox, re-listening to that a couple of times. I was like, all right, I don't want to jump into the third listening right away just yet. Let it just kind of percolate, and just kind of shift gears. And so I got this, I got the audiobook from this Sadhguru, this Indian guy, Sad, it's like SADH Guru, GURU. And I heard a couple of his YouTube videos, and he said some things that were so counterintuitive and like so like, basically dispelling things that we've all just kind of taken for granted is like, well, yeah, that's the truth. And he's just like, well, actually, that's not the truth. It's actually this other, he just totally like in one sentence just kind of, takes something apart that most of society just takes it for granted as that's the way it is. And even I was just like, oh, damn, like, never thought of it like that, And so immediately when I'm hearing that stuff, I was just like, okay, this guy's got my attention, I love it when anybody can disrupt things, especially societal, human level, conscious frameworks that we just assume is true, and because so few of us ever question it, because it sounds true, but then he just points things out, and I was just like, okay, all right, I want to hear this guy a little more. He's this Indian guru character, like very, a little stereotypical kind of Indian guru guy, but I mean, the stuff he's saying is just so brilliant that I was like, okay, let me check this guy out. And so he had a book called I think Internal Engineering, which also sounds kind of Indian. It's like, of course, half the Indians are engineers, right? So it's kind of funny. He's this spiritual guru teacher, and and he still has a way of incorporating engineering into his spiritual practice by saying internal engineering. So I thought that was kind of both intriguing, and I wasn't sure, a little tongue-in-cheek or something, So, but yeah, I started listening to that book, and I'm just like, wow, yeah, right off the bat, like in the first opening few paragraphs, he just like dismantles several different commonly held belief systems of pretty much almost every human being on the earth. And even I was basically believing those things because I didn't have any alternative, and dispelled a bunch of stuff. And I was like, wow, okay, I definitely got to listen to the rest of this book after what he just said. So that's also something that I've been, while doing this fast is, another component of me spending time with, seeking, spiritually finding my new path. It's like, because I'm going through this identity change, if anything, like a transformation. I'm going through a transformation. I'm seeing it now. I'm experiencing it, and and I'm becoming less and less attached to my past, and who I was before, what I did before, commitments that I had in the past that I've been carrying along with me, and so. Yeah, so I'm just like, wow, for the true transformation, it's like, definitely, it's about like letting go of limitations, and including limitations of beliefs. I think that's another concept that I'm meditating on, kind of tussling with right now. It's like, positive beliefs are great, but what's even more powerful is no belief, because inherently even positive beliefs have restrictions and limitations, are still confined. It still is based on this, not that kind of thing. So it's still, so it's just like, and even like the concept of belonging. Like that was another one that really hit me, because I realized that was something I struggled with from childhood. Like I had this sense growing up that I didn't belong, and I took that, I experienced it as something really like detrimental and negative for the longest time, even up until recently. I still related to it as like, kind of looking with almost, a little bit of envy to other people that just seemed like they so belong with their family, like they're with these other people that just like they belong, like they have a place that just fit like they belong, and that must feel so wonderful. I wish I could feel that, because I didn't have that experience growing up. I felt like no one understood me. I felt like I was just out of place, through my parents, but just so out of touch. We're just not in sync. I just don't feel like I belong, But now the thing as I've been listening to this Sadhguru character, he actually makes the argument. He says the most powerful position you can be in is where you don't belong. Belonging is a restriction. It's a confinement. It's like it's like shackling you to a limited way of being, a limited way of operating, and that it's actually it's the easy way out kind of thing. And I was like, what? So I was like, well, crap, in that case, I've already started at a place of not belonging. So, being like this independent, like fully living into this experience of being a fully independent, able to make choices purely for myself as an independent singular being of consciousness that's not tied down to anybody or anything, because anybody or anything is fundamentally an illusory construct of this projection of this inner world. It's like all of our experiences at the end of the day are actually internal experiences, because we can't actually experience the world for real, because it's always being filtered through a set of senses, which then enters into our brain, and then we have this experience that exists only in our brain. So as much as we want to believe that everything we're experiencing is happening out there, the actual truth is that the experience is always happening inside of us, but we have the illusion that it's happening outside of us. Our bodies are receiving input, but the actual construct of how the world looks and operates is always inside of our heads. It's always inside, and that we will never actually directly experience the world, whatever it actually is. It's like we see it the way we see it, but the reality, maybe it looks completely something different, if we were a different species or a different type of creature altogether, that maybe someone else, another creature, will be experiencing a completely different world. So I don't know. So there's some deep stuff like that I've been studying and contemplating. So that was comforting, reassuring to know, like, okay, actually, the not belonging path is actually the path of like, has more the potential of the true freedom path, so yeah, and I think it's definitely connected with the vision that I had a couple days ago, this new vision, but I'm trying to make sure I keep it balanced with always like staying centered in myself, always, and not getting caught up on external things, which then I start associating as like, oh, by doing these things that will generate me happiness and peace and joy and all that. And I really be practicing, like, start with peace, happiness, and joy, and then allow the things that I manifest around me, be a reflection and a reflection of that already held inner peace, peace, happiness, and joy. And that I will just be doing those things as an extension of already feeling that way. And I'm not doing those things in order to feel that way. So I think, that's where I think, definitely most people fall into that trap of you do these things in order to feel something. But the only way out is you got to start with yourself, cultivate that internal world. And then the external world will just start coming together, to reflect your internal world. So, and again, the external world is technically still actually just an extension of your internal world, because you never actually can interact with the actual world, because it's always, our experiences in our heads, which is filtered through all these senses. And so ultimately we're interacting with input signals that are then being reconstructed in our own heads. And even the concept of our own heads is probably another abstraction kind of thing, because then the concept of having a head is, I imagine that it's even the concept of a brain and a head and body are all, illusions that are conjured up inside of a greater consciousness anyways. So definitely has like a dream within a dream within a dream. That's what I loved Inception so much, because I really love that concept of dream within a dream within a dream, because it's probably very metaphoric to what actually is happening for humans. That we're living this dream within a dream within a dream, but they're persistent dreams. So, a dream that keeps going, after a while, you'll just assume it's real, so that's what I kind of see is like a lot of, the world that we're living now is it's a very persistent dream. And, even Albert Einstein, said something similar, it's like all of reality is but an illusion, albeit a persistent one. I think that was his quote. So that always stuck with me. So, yeah. So, all right. Well, those are my deep thoughts for the day, for the night. It's already, it's late. Man, my sleep schedule is so erratic. I gotta try to, I'm definitely going to start working on getting a more consistent sleep schedule. But sometimes we do these water fasts. Yeah, things can shift and change. Like, you just be motivated to work, But then again, maybe that's just me. Maybe other people, no problem being a super consistent sleep schedule. So I will certainly make a more asserted effort to get myself to wake up at a more consistent time and go to bed at a more consistent time. And then, and also see how that affects my total, weight loss and skin tightening and all that kind of stuff. So, all right. Well, that's it for now. Day 29. 2 more days, and then I'll break a personal record. And 30 days, it's like, I definitely would say, I've had a few friends now that I come across, and I go, I've been, haven't eaten in 28 days, over the last couple of days, be like, 26 days, 27 days, now 28 days. I mean, they look at me like I'm a freak of nature, and they're just like, I could never do that. I would die or something. And I'm just like, no, you probably could do it, and I don't think you would die. You'd actually probably be fine. But they're still like, what? I say water fast, and they're like, okay, well, you're still eating like fruit, right? You know, like, and I'm like, no, I'm eating no food. Okay, you're still eating, like, they start naming off some like some you know, healthy food option. And I'm like, do you hear me? I said no food, like no calories. They're like, okay, but I'm like, well, that's calories. I'm like, no calories. You know, so sometimes it takes a while for them to like process the information, because they're just like, wait a second, wait, how is that even possible? You're almost a month in and you haven't eaten anything? Like, what? You know, so that's another thing. Just forewarned, you know, if anybody decides to go on this really long fast, there's definitely going to be majority of people are going to look at you like a freak of nature, and just be completely dumbfounded, because it's like they're seeing Bigfoot or something. They're like, wait, I this is not supposed to happen. You know, this isn't supposed to be real. You know, like you're like violating some like belief and assumptions that most people have, that, you know, if you stop eating for a few days, you get weaker and weaker, and then next thing you know, you're just like enfeebled and curled up, you know, all skin and bones and have no energy. And here I am, like full of energy and super sharp, and, you know, going to work and doing all these things, and they're just like, yeah, so you're like a walking, talking belief violation. And so that's actually, I find a lot of enjoyment out of that, actually. You know, gets people to question. Anytime you can get people to question their belief system or their paradigm, in a good way, you know, in meaning that their belief system or paradigm has, you know, is missing. It was a flaw in it, or it was just totally founded on incorrect information. Anytime you can like disrupt that for people, I think that's a really powerful thing. It's very positive, you know, even if you just plant the seed, you know, suddenly plant the seed of doubt in their paradigm, and then that seed starts growing, and then before they know it, you know, they start noticing other contradictions and, you know, evidence to show that maybe their paradigm is wrong, you know, and then they start questioning it, and then, you know, little by little, could take time, you know, it's like days, weeks, months, possibly years, but, you know, sometimes all it takes is that one seed planted, and then next thing you know, those people are suddenly like, that does sound, you know, maybe I should try that, you know, maybe I could do that, you know. So yeah, so, you know, the more people do this kind of stuff, and the more we can inspire other people to take it on and start healing themselves, you know. But of course, we're going to do the proper nutrition too. So that's definitely going to be my next phase again, you know, to tackle that. So, okay. All right. That's, all right. This is definitely it now. All right. Till on to day 29.